Troy Aikman has started his own beer line, a light beer, which begs the question, whose beer would you not buy?
January 24th is National Beer Can Appreciation Day, or as I like to call it, the High Holy Days of beer drinking.
And I'm Kate Scott with Joe Sixpack and Glen Macnow. Welcome to Town Tap in Havertown, and welcome to What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Montco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. Travel the Bucks County Ale Trail. Check in digitally to 5 or more breweries to score a free t-shirt. Get your passport at visitbuckscounty.com. And by the Conshohocken Brewing Company. Visit conshahockenbrewing.com for the latest releases, location hours, menus, and online store.
You don't have to go away to get away. Go and explore. Find the small businesses that make where you live a community. When you dine, choose homemade. On a free weekend, discover the great outdoors. And if it's brewed here, enjoy it with friends. Support small for an experience you won't find anywhere else. Make it local, make it Main Street, make it Montco.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing. He's Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. Special guest today, and what a thrill it is for us. Kate Scott is the new play-by-play broadcaster for the Sixers. You will see her right here on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Pleasure to have you out here.
Thanks
today.
for having me, guys. I don't know who canceled, but I'm glad they did.
No. By the way, I am drinking an MC5. I gave you one of those
I am as
unfiltered
well.
IPA. Here's to you.
It is delicious.
What are you drinking, Joe?
Cheers. This is the new one. I'm going to turn around and look at the name of it. It's Hop Plow. It's a big-time IPA. What is it, 9% alcohol or something?
Ooh.
Yeah, good.
You're walking
we'll
home.
see you later. All right. One of the things that I was delighted to learn, Kate, is that you're a beer gal.
I love beer.
And we love to tell stories through beer. And I said, "What are your favorite beers?" I gotta say, I was a little dubious that this was the first one you
Yeah, I was
mentioned.
wondering, what did you put on us here,
Do us a
Glenn?
favor, give us a pour and tell us why.
It's important, guys. It's important to point out because I know that a lot of people see, oh, she's coming from the Bay Area. She's probably snooty. I don't know what the stereotypes of the Bay Area are out here.
No, you got it.
But I grew up 3 hours south of the Bay Area in a little farm town known as Fresno and Clovis. Fresno State is there, Derek Carr. There's a lot of great athletes who've
Cheers
come
to
out.
you.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
So I come from a very blue-collar town where the champagne of beers was a very frequent beverage of choice. Not for me, because I was still young. I was underage at that point, so I wasn't drinking yet at that time. But, and then when I moved up to San Francisco and beers continued to get more and more expensive, I was not going to pay $9 at a bar for a Stella Artois. So once I started realizing they had High Life in the fridges that they were kind of hiding, your classy bra here was walking around with High Lifes, just saying, screw the man. I'm not drinking beer that I know I can get a six-pack of for the same price. So that's where I'm from.
That's actually sort of a Philly attitude.
It really is.
That's what I'm saying.
really
It
works.
feels like I was supposed to be here. So.
Now, that works, and we all started with stuff like
Come
this.
on,
And
come
you know
on.
what? You mow the lawn a hot day, I still,
Exactly.
I do not have a problem.
Thank you.
Although we are beer guys, we aim not to be beer snobs. And then you told me the other beer that
Yes.
means something to you is this.
Yes, my Blackbeard Porter.
Like the shoots.
From the great state of Oregon. So, in college, living with my two best girlfriends, like we always do, barely paying rent, probably drinking a lot of things that are, really bad because they're just free, and what can you do? So one of my roommate's moms was from Oregon, and she was a lawyer. She was a principal at a law firm. And we were underage. Cheers, guys.
Cheers to you.
And she came to visit us one day. Comes in, sets down a 6-pack of Blackbeard Porter. I think we're 19, 20, so still not drinkable age yet. She goes, ladies, I know you're learning lots of stuff here at UC Berkeley. You're getting a great education, but I got to teach you about life. This is a man's world, and if you want to succeed in a man's world, you got to learn to like and drink beer. This is Blackbeard Porter. And we started doing things like this. So every time she'd come down, she'd say, this is a porter, this is what makes a porter, this is a stout, this is a pale ale. She's like, you got to know beer, you got to like beer, it's an acquired taste. So I keep going back to this. I know it's kind of all over the place now, but 20 years ago when I was in school, it was so hard to find. We couldn't find it anywhere, so she had to bring it down, and now it's one of my favorite porters, obviously because of the nostalgia, but it's such a smooth, easy drink.
I think it's one of the best porters in the world. It's
agree.
really amazing beer. The great thing about it is, and I know you'll agree with this, is that beer has changed. It's not just a man's world anymore. We've had women guests on our show any number of times, and it's a wonder how much it has changed since the days when you would put down and say, you got to get used to this taste. So.
Yeah. But I love also dark beers, especially during this time of year. I'm a seasonal beer drinker. I like my porters and stouts when it's kind of chilly outside, right? Along with my scotches.
We're going to be talking about that in the next episode.
We are. All right, let's get a little bit of your background. As you said, you're from the Bay Area. You worked out there. You are a real pioneer in the business. You came to no, you are, and that's very admirable. Came to Philadelphia this year. In a tough spot because you're replacing a legend and you're moving in during a pandemic. But I think you've really shown yourself well. What's your sense of East Coast versus West Coast? Philly fans, Philly teams versus out there?
Well, very different, obviously, but I knew that coming into this. I knew the passion, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to be here, because one of the stereotypes, and you guys can tell me if this is true or not, kind of fair weather fans, right? Kind of the Chardonnay fans. That was always the joke about 49ers fans.
Yeah.
They've got chandeliers at their tailgates. Stanford does. Go Bears, screw Stanford. But, you know, we love sports out there, but there was wine country. There was the Russian River Brewing Company. There's Lagunitas. There's so much else to do. The city here shuts down on Sundays, which is amazing. And yeah, there's a lot of 49ers and former Raider fans out in the Bay, but if there was something maybe better to do on a Sunday, they would DVR the game. So there's a different level to the fandom.
Mortal sin around here.
Exactly, and that's why I was so excited to get here, because like you were saying, kind of got a little bit of a Philly attitude. I know I wasn't born and raised here, and I know that I'll never have that like Zoo, but it feels like I'm supposed to be here. I'm having such a great time getting to know folks like you who've been here for a really long time. So we'll see if that rings true a couple years down the road. But
I love listening to you. I'm a big Hoops fan, and but I got to ask you, you know, what's your judgment of how Philly has taken to you specifically, not as a West Coaster, but as a woman?
For the most part, they have been incredible. Thank you all. I've gotten so many hundreds of wonderful emails and tweets and Instagram notes, and it's been great. And then I know Glenn and I had a little back and forth, you know, about some tweets I sent a couple weeks ago. Relating just to that fact.
Never listen to the trolls.
Exactly, but this is a different level. And again, I still don't listen because I wouldn't be here if I was going to let that drag me down. But like you said, Joe, I'm fine with people saying, you suck, I hate your voice, Zoo's a zillion times better and you're never going to be on his level. That's just what we all get, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the trolls. But there is a lot of the misogyny. How dare you even attempt to call a man sport? What will you ever know? I'm like, basketball is basketball, man.
Yeah.
So, but that's been a small minority, and I know they're loud, but I've been dealing with this since I started in this business. So,
listen,
for the most part, people are being awesome.
I think you know the majority is enjoying you and certainly rooting for you and rooting for a great season from the Sixers.
Amen.
We hope that is going to happen. We're going to keep talking with Kate Scott in the next segment. Hey, you're a beer gal. That puts you good in our eyes. With Joe Sixpack and Kate Scott, I'm Glen Macnow. We're at the Town Tap in Havertown for What's Brewing.
When you can actually see the craftsmanship that went into making something, you're transported back to a simpler time.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of freedom that you get riding in the open cockpit of a biplane.
Like the many Pennsylvania plein air artists who came before me, I found inspiration for my art in the hills and the valleys of Bucks County. Bucks County is my home.
Bucks County is my home.
And Bucks County is my home. Visit Bucks County, where home feels like a getaway.
Welcome back to What's Brewing. We're at the Town Tap in Havertown by Conshohocken Brewing Company. My neighborhood spot, my place. He's Joe Sixpack. Kate Scott, Sixers TV play-by-play broadcaster, has joined us. And here's the wait, Kate Scott, you're
Two-fister.
What do you got?
I mean, we're at a tap room.
Yeah.
I wasn't just going to drink one beer. Yeah,
No.
tell me what I'm drinking.
So you've got the Ring the Bell Pilsner, very appropriate.
Look at that, Ring the
right?
Bell.
There you go.
There you go.
And you've got the Mr. Robusto Porter. And so please enjoy them all. All right.
This is delicious too.
As we told you earlier, Troy Aikman, ex-quarterback of the Cowboys, now a pretty good broadcaster, has started his own beer company. It is called 8, which is his old jersey number. It is a, well, here you go. None of us are going to,
Thought real hard about that one, didn't you, Troy?
none of us are. It is a low-calorie light lager made with organic grains and Hilario Taurus hops, rich in antioxidants. It's a healthy beer for a healthy lifestyle. Now in the market in Texas, they're hoping to expand it. And you mentioned to me, one of the guys of Omegon, a good brewery in New York,
Yeah,
is
good brewer,
involved.
but I'm sorry. A Troy Aikman beer, you couldn't catch me within a mile of a can.
All right, 90-calorie
that
beer. Hey, you lived
Who
out.
wants a 90-calorie beer? I'm from Vegan Central out in the Bay. Come on, even when we're having our tofu, we want a real solid beer. And also, screw you, Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmett Smith. I grew up hating the Cowboys just as much as you guys.
That's
I grew up
right.
a Niners fan.
It will never sell well here.
Nope.
It probably never will sell here, but
Only
it
in
got me
Dallas,
thinking, whose beer would you not buy? What endorsement would work as a negative to you? So we asked our viewers, who came up with a lot of great ones, and we want to read some of these. There are a lot for Ben Simmons. Kate, you don't have to say a word here, all right? I'm not going to put you in a
I
spot.
appreciate you
but
more
here
and
you
more
go.
each moment, Glenn.
Laura Elizabeth said, Ben Simmons lager, so expensive you will be fooled into thinking it's a quality beer, but really it's just the filtered tears of Sixers fans and tastes like bitter disappointment. Randy Corcoran says, Ben Simmons beer because I have to quit it before I was done. And Cindy Lou said, Ben Simmons brewed for those who hate taking shots.
Ooh.
Good stuff. All
That's
right.
pretty good.
right.
This is pretty good.
You go next.
I get to do the hockey ones. Oh, Sidney Crosby. I grew up not really liking him either. Okay, from Christopher Eichwald. Sidney Crosby because you can only find it in real dives. Look at that. Nicely done.
That works.
And Justin Simone. Sidney Crosby. It would probably taste like a watered-down salty tear.
Interestingly enough,
Those are good.
Philly people will remember that the old Notting's Head Brewery in Philadelphia once made a beer called Sidney Crosby's Tears.
Yes, they
Big
did.
seller.
Yeah.
I would have bought that.
What do you got?
Well, back to basketball. I'm surprised people remembered in our chats there about Andrew Bynum.
Oh,
He
gosh,
seems like-
forever.
Yeah, apparently.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Came here, made $8 zillion, played 3 games, and injured his back bowling.
Yeah.
People remember those things.
Well, Bill Sublodnik says he would never drink Andrew Bynum Oktoberfest because you could celebrate it when you buy it, but you can never get the bottles open.
Very good.
That is
Another one from in the basketball world, Sean Bradley, another ignominious Sixers
that
pick.
Sixer.
Chris Garrity says it would be a Sean Bradley beer would be tall, translucent, weak, and you would regret picking it almost immediately.
All right, let's do a second round. Jeffrey J. PA says, I would never buy a Howie Roseman IPA because you'd always have trouble with the first round. That's actually really good. And Mike Hannon said, I'm going to leave this one for the end. You go first.
Okay.
This is the kicker.
We're teasing ahead. From Gregory M. McPeak. I like the M. Carson Wentz because it would taste like wine. Nicely done.
That's actually
Cindy
good.
Lou and Nelson Aguilar brewed for those who can't hold their beer.
People are good.
Our viewers
the
are really
creativity.
good.
All right,
Your viewers.
I'll close with this one. Mike Hannon, and this is a real name, says former race car driver Dick Trickle. Boy, that would need a great advertising agency. So just kind of your sense of where this team is going. We're taping this a week or two in advance, but your sense of where the team is right now.
Well, they're currently in the midst of a win streak, and they're playing without a lot of guys who would be helpful in winning even more games. So it really feels like they're finding their rhythm. They got off to a great start, right? 8-2.
Yeah.
Tough December, understandably. They were the first team hit with COVID. and now really seem to be finding their footing again. And more important than anything to me, they have talent. Obviously, could use a little more talent to get them to the upper tier of the entire association. But I'm one of those people who thinks chemistry matters, guys, and this team really seems to like each other.
Kate Scott, we've enjoyed sitting back drinking a beer with you today.
Same here.
You're terrific. You will obviously see her on all of the games, most of them, right here on NBC Sports Philadelphia. We're at the Town Tap in Havertown. Joe Sixpack, Glen Macnow. When we come back, it's National Beer Can Appreciation Day. We can talk about that on What's Brewing. Glen Macnow here with Andrew Colligan from Conshohocken Brewing Company. Let's run down the new lineup of exciting beers, starting with Type A.
Our #1 selling beer, big citrus hop notes and nice dry finish, the quintessential American IPA.
Ring the Bell Pilsner.
And that's our fastest growing brand. It's a smooth, easy drinking Pilsner to enjoy during a game.
Life Coach.
Hazy, 100% citra hop session IPA, the perfect beer for all day at the golf course or the pool.
Puddler's Row ESP.
That's our multi-roasty English pub ale, 2 silver medals at the World Beer Cup, maybe the best English show in the country.
MC5, my favorite.
Double dry hopped IPA, it's all the juicy goodness you want in a hazy IPA.
Philly Vice.
It's our rotating series of fruited sours, light and easy drinking.
Mr. Robusto.
Dark chocolatey porter, perfect dark beer for a cold winter's night.
All exciting beers. Enjoy them all and a whole lot more at Conshohocken Brewing Company's 5 PA locations and wherever fine beer is sold.
Cheers.
Welcome back to What's Brewing from the Town Tap in Havertown. I'm Glen Macnow, drinking an Ivan. Oh, I love this. We've done a lot of collaborations with Ivan. This is the famous chocolate cookie stout. So, Joe Sixpack, we thought Kate Scott was leaving.
Nope,
we
I'm not
can't
done.
get rid of her. There's beer.
I still have more beer to drink, and now I got a beautiful can,
Put
too.
a beer in front of her.
Sorry,
There you go.
sorry, not sorry.
Well, we're
Back
happy to
this one.
have you. Hey, January 24th, this week is National Beer Can Appreciation Day. They got a day for everything.
I was going to say, Beer Can Appreciation Day.
All right,
Wow, they
I'm going to
really
give you first.
pushed
I'm going to
it.
give you a little primer on the history
Okay.
of beer cans.
Okay.
All right, the first beer can, 1935, 87 years ago. The Gottfried Kruger Brewing Company in Virginia delivered 2,000 cans of Kruger's finest beer. We're going to show you the original can, which actually holds up pretty well to faithful drinkers. The problem was you needed a church key to open the thing.
That's a bad thing because, I guess, it became a standard kitchen implement for people to have, but, these days we don't have to worry about that. We have these push tabs that do everything for you.
Let me get there, Joe Sixpack. Okay, important notes of history. 1958, beer cans were originally made out of tin, then steel, then aluminum. 1958, which means that you're not tasting the tin.
I mean, if it was a good beer, I'd deal with it, right?
You'd live with the corrosion.
Tinny, but otherwise, I like it.
1962, Iron City beer in Pittsburgh was the first to use the easy opening can with the pull tab. 1969 is the first year that cans outsold bottles, which is earlier than I would have expected.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 2018 or something.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, it is an easier package. I think that it really started to take off during the war, where, because it was easier to ship those cans to the troops and so on. So,
Okay.
Wow.
1979, since you can't really be trusted with, as we said, small pieces of metal around, is the first.
He was looking at you when
And
he
here
said
you
that.
go, first
You can't be
tab,
trusted.
fixed tab beer can as we know it now today. Joe Sixpack, you and I have talked before about how amazing the art has become on cans, and we all brought a few that we think might be fun to look at.
Yeah, there's some great designs. This beer, I just absolutely love the beer inside it, but I also love the graphics on it. This is from Voodoo, Wyona's Big Brown Ale, just a fantastic beer, but I love the art on it as well.
Yeah. Kate, what do you got?
I've got a Victory. Is that one that we appreciate
Oh,
here?
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
One of the first beers I actually bought, because who doesn't want a Victory when you're a Sixers fan, right? They're dry hopped Prima Pills. I just like the design too.
They did a beautiful job. That was a different kind of label when it was in bottles, but when they moved to cans, it really looks fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
We're in the cans here today. Do we drink straight out of the can?
Oh, that is a good question. I
Oh,
don't.
I do.
Do you? Still, even with like these big flavorful
Not when I'm
beers?
here, but when I'm home, I do. Often.
Haven't you,
Yeah,
Kate?
well,
You do?
I drink out of the 12 ounces, but these ones I usually put into a glass because I usually buy these to share, just so you can taste more. I like ordering lots of things you can share.
I agree. Although I do, they're easy to store in your pocket. You
can just drop them down your shirt, sneak into an Eagles
right
game,
into the game or the movie theater. All right, real quick story. We got about a minute here. NFL No Fun League. We've talked about this before. How the NFL doesn't. The NFL takes all kinds of money from beer companies, but then doesn't want their players being part of it. Spencer Brown, an offensive tackle on the Buffalo Bills, was fined $5,000 by the NFL last month for a beer drinking celebration after a teammate scored a touchdown. Basically, they were all jumping into the stands. Spencer Brown jumped in. The guy in front of him was holding a Bud Light. He picked it up and he drank it through his face mask. I'm okay with that.
That was a great moment. That was a wonderful moment. I love that.
And you'll see the photograph of it. It's exciting, it's fun, it's human, and so on. NFL fined him $5,000 because they don't want players associated, I guess, during the game.
Meanwhile, we're trying to get a bar built in the NBC Sports Philadelphia studio so that Amy Fadul and I, we're still figuring out the name of it, but something pre and post game where there can be beer potentially. Some of your beer
tap?
I mean, MSG has one for the Knicks. We're like, what? Come on, we're way cooler than them.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
Stay tuned.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, given, as you just mentioned, the amount of association that the beer has with the NFL.
Yeah, listen. Everybody knows this, but the league wants to pretend that the players don't care.
NFL, keep being stupid. The NBA will happily take your fans. Keep making great decisions like that.
Postscript to the story, and I like this. Buffalo Bills fans, as they have done before when players have gotten fines, asked Spencer Brown, what's your favorite charity? He said what it was. It's one for military veterans, and Bills fans raised twice that amount in his name to give to the charity.
That's great.
So I thought that was really
that's a great gesture.
All right, coming up, the latest chapter in our scavenger hunt. You got that out of there.
I got it out. Don't want to waste good beer.
There you go. In our What's Brewing scavenger hunt with Kate Scott, Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow with the Town Tap in Havertown for What's Brewing. Welcome back to What's Brewing. We're at the Town Tap in Havertown, my neighborhood spot. I'm Glen Macnow. He's Joe Sixpack. We can't get rid of Kate
She's
Scott.
refused to leave.
She basically discovered the taps, and she's just going back for another round, but that's fine. We appreciate that. All right. We've been having so much fun this year with our scavenger hunt. More than, I think, close to 200 viewers are involved, sending us weekly pictures of
And
what
it's
we
not
call
too late to join if you want to do it.
Good point.
Get out
So I
there
can
and-
hop in?
Yes,
Oh yeah, you just got to
absolutely.
try to
Love
catch up.
scavenger
It's all
hunts.
online. You just, I
Okay.
think this is challenge 12 or 13
This is,
today.
I think it's 12, yeah.
Okay, there you go. We are going to show you some from a recent broadcast, which is you have to show us a beer menu inside a tap room or saloon, and
That's
you see a lot of
easy.
people have theirs. Easy
Yeah,
peasy.
come on.
Today's a little tougher, Joe Sixpack.
Yeah, all you got to do, though, is send us a photo and tag us on our social media at Real Glen Macnow on Twitter, and I'm at beer_radar or at What's Brewing PA. Just show us a photo of what we're looking for. And this week we are looking for a brewery collectible. But we're making it a little bit difficult for you this time because what we want is a brewery collectible from a defunct brewery. An old brewery or, somewhat old, a brewery that's no longer out there. Something like this from the Valley Forge Brewery. It was out there until like the 1970s, I guess it was. We actually visited Von C a little bit ago who had, were in near that brewery. Just show us, it could be a beer can, a beer mug, a
I got a
coaster.
Blatz beer poster in my basement.
There
That
you
would
go.
work, right?
Show us a photo
He's
of one
not
of those.
eligible, is he? Come on.
No,
That's
I
cheating. Okay, good.
But the winner gets to go out drinking with us, so I win no matter what.
Exactly.
They're good company.
Exactly. So we want to see a photo of a brewery collectible from a defunct brewery.
That's the rules. Yes. Okay, good. Time for some beer news that is going on, and I'm going to start with one because it's good news. It's a place that I used to frequent a lot and look forward to getting back to, Begataway out in Conchi. It's Billy Cunningham's old bar, the legendary Sixers player and coach. He used to have the place, now run by a great bar guy named J.P. Bowles. You remember him from the Ugly Moose
Right.
in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
So Begataway
Moose.
closed,
That's
I think a year ago, September, and he's reopened it.
Okay, well, let's say, along the lines of places reopening or opening up, we've got a few newbies coming up over in Jersey, in Medford. Farm Truck Brewing is going to be opening up this year soon, in the spring, along with also in New Jersey, Sons of Barley Brewing. So
That's a good name.
The breweries are still opening up. There's another place coming up in Kensington called, I love this name, Humble Parlor. It sounds like you would sit there on a nice cushy chair and toast each other and so, whatever in Kensington.
Great job last night, Joe.
Exactly.
Do you have to talk in accents?
There we go. Yes, you got to be British. Okay. So, Kate, you are new to this town. You came in, and I know you're engulfed with work, right? But to what extent have you had the opportunity to go out and discover the kind of beer scene in town?
That's true. Not much yet, but the beers that I always like to drink local. So every time I've been out, I've said, okay, what Philly locals do you have on tap? And I've just gotten to taste things because there's, as you guys were just talking about, there is so much beer in the U.S. right now, and it's so exciting for somebody who likes it to just get to try new things almost every time I go out.
Kate Scott, it's been just so delightful to have you out here today, and we appreciate everybody who watches. Watch Kate do the Sixers games. Who knows? There may be one on right after this show. We kind of bounce around and get to see it. You will see her on NBC Sports Philadelphia with Ala Abdelnaby, who's a terrific guy.
He's so good, big fun.
There you go. Joe Sixpack, always a pleasure. Everybody, thanks for listening. We will see you next week on What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Montco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. Travel the Bucks County Ale Trail. Check in digitally to 5 or more breweries to score a free t-shirt. Get your passport at visitbuckscounty.com. And by the Conshohocken Brewing Company. Visit conchohockenbrewing.com for the latest releases, location hours, menus, and online store.